But unfortunately, between social media and people passing around violent videos all the time, no matter what those statistics say, I still think it roots in people's minds that crime is just out of
It's
control.
true.
And I think we're much
to
safer as a society today than we were when I was growing up.
So I think to your point regarding social media, it's very easy to share a violent video. That those things move very quickly across the internet. But these FBI statistics leave room for questions because there are a lot of cities, major cities like Los Angeles, that are not providing that information.
I'm sorry to interrupt you again, but I just, because we looked this up, I've heard this before. The FBI addressed this today. Those major cities now are reporting their crime statistics. So,
but they didn't
numbers,
in 23 on these numbers. When you go to the FBI website, they're not there, especially for homicides in LA.
Let me answer what you're saying. So now they do. Los Angeles, New York, all the major cities, any city with over 1 million people, those police departments report into these statistics. In some past years, they reported them, but the FBI did not include them because of a reporting issue. But if you look in the report, they talk about the past trends. They include that data now from those past years. The trend is still going down. So crime is going down.
But in a city like DC, the most recent crime data from DC, there have been 274 murders. It's up 35%. Robbery, you're looking at up 67%. You know, some of these major cities, crime is still an issue, and people are still seeing the videos because that crime is happening.
I was a long-time DC resident, so I understand what you're saying. But overall, for the country and for most major cities, it's.
I have 2 points. I actually think you're like hammer meat, nail on head. I think you're right. And I think Scott's right. I think Jamil's right as well. I think that Democrats, for a long period of time, we put our head in the sand when it came to issues of crime, right? We talked about it in the way that you should, being smart about crime, but we didn't necessarily address the way that people feel about it. Like my mom would always say that I don't want less police officers. That's why people chose Joe Biden in the 2020 primary, because nobody wanted to defund the police, not Democratic voters. They just wanted better police, right? It wasn't about taking police off the street or defunding them. They wanted me to be able to come home safely while police were out there patrolling the neighborhoods. And so I think everybody at this table is correct that this is a serious issue that you can no longer put your head in the sand about. But I think that there are different ways in which you go about doing it. Like, for example, Kamala Harris being smart on crime, being a prosecutor, prosecuting drug rings, human trafficking is one thing. Donald Trump abusing the law and then saying he wants to give law enforcement, particularly to black men watching this, all right? Donald Trump is somebody who says he wants to give immunity to law enforcement officers regardless of the act that they commit. Do you know how patently absurd that is? And so you have differences on policy. But the fact is, and it's a good question, and I'm glad I think we all agree, crime is a very serious issue. It's who do you want to challenge that serious issue?
I think this is multifaceted.
Can you agree? Chime in and agree.
No, we're well past that.
That was A block.
I think Harris has some holes in her record. I mean, I think she tried to bail violent people out of jail before. She raised money for that. That's number one. Number two, she called for police to be taken out of schools. Number three, she has advocated in the past for decriminalizing illegal immigration when people come across. And so she has once again, we're back to the same conversation. What is her record? What are her public statements? What actions has she taken? And then what is she running towards in the shadow of an election? Which just makes me suspect that she wants to be tough on crime.
And I hear you, and I hear you. And if I was Kamala Harris standing on stage beside Scott Jennings, what I would say is that you can't. But I'm definitely some lightweights you don't worry about. So what I would simply say is you have to look at her record as district attorney. You have to look at her record as attorney general. This isn't someone who hasn't prosecuted these people and locked these people up. This is a serious candidate with a serious law enforcement record. And as for sheriffs in schools, right now we're at a point we have to have that, because we have mental health issues. We also have a gun problem.